Well, we're jumping right back into our notes, and this is one of my favorite chapters in the whole work text of things that we cover. I just like talking about what could be, what would happen if God showed up, if we were obedient, if we were faithful, if the Holy Spirit was moving among us. What would happen among the people that we're trying to serve and reach with the gospel? So before we get into the chapters, in a few chapters ahead of us, around chapter 7 or 8, we talk about the actual process of each individual program, what that outline looks like. I want us to look at micro-programming the process. And before we get too far into that, I want us to jump right into thinking about, or should I say remember, some of the things that we've already talked about so far, because we've got some key things, and one of those things was the programming axioms, and I hope you remember the programming axioms, and if you don't, you can refer to them in your notes. The number one was that programming is potentially your ministry's number one enemy. The job of getting things done can sometimes take you away from seeing ministry happening, as well as not programming effectively and efficiently and intentionally can also remove ministry opportunities. But number two was that powerful programs are purposeful programs. We have to have a directed biblical intention for what we do in every aspect of student ministry. Three is that powerful programs are professionally planned. That should say powerful programs are professionally planned. In other words, there's a level of excellence and design that goes into that. It's not just shooting from the hip, and we're not just winging it. Number four, and this is where I want to really camp out for this session, is that we program to the product. We program to the product. Of course, you remember number 5 is plan now, pastor later, and number 6 is plan your work and work your plan. But I really want us to fall back to this one right here, programming to the product. What does that look like? What does that mean? Successful programs don't just happen. They have to develop through a process. And axiom number 3 says that powerful programs are professionally planned. So what are the different stages in the development of the program? And as we look towards that, we have to remember that ultimately we're trying to program to the product. And so what are the steps in planning a specific program? In doing that, I wanted to illustrate this concept by looking at several different things, specifically launching off of the fourth axiom. And with the fourth axiom, I wanted us to look at specifically what it looks like and what that process, what are the steps in planning an effective program? What are the different stages in the development of the program? So as we look at those, number 1 is that we propose to the product. Okay, and if you remember back a couple of chapters ago, we looked at these different dynamics, these 6 different things that we focus in on: the POPPE, the propose to the product. Then we organize to the product. We always keep the end goal as a focal priority. Then number 3 is we prepare to the product. Number 4, we present to the product, and number 5, we evaluate to the product, and then we program to the product. That's how we get to programming to the product. In other words, when there's a purpose, there is an expectation for an outcome. We have a vision for what we are asking God to do and what we are trusting will happen in the lives of those involved in that student ministry, both volunteers, parents, and students. We program to that end. We focus in on that. And in your work text there, I've got what I call the Walmart evangelism scenario. And I want you to look at this, scene 1, okay? Let's just look at this together. You've been burdened by the lack of vibrant evangelism that your youth ministry is having with secular teens. You host evangelistic rallies in the church gym, but lost teens just don't come. One Friday night, you're standing in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, drinking a sweet iced tea, which is a spiritual thing, by the way, and watching all the cruiser teenagers sitting on the hoods of their cars in the adjacent Walmart parking lot. Your heart cries out to God, how can I reach these kids? Suddenly you have a vision. Bring the gospel to them, where they are. You see a summer Friday night, the Walmart parking lot, multitudes of teens in a flatbed truck stage, a Christian band, and you presenting the gospel. Scene 1. Scene 1 is the vision. Scene 1 is the dream. Scene 1 is where you begin to ask, God, what could happen? Scene 2. Now, listen here. Don't get lost in the details of this. I want you to see how the progression helps us get a hold of the vision, and that we program to the product, to the honor and glory of God. Scene 2. As you sit in your office mulling over the dream God has given you, you realize there are so many details and a lot of work that must happen to fulfill this dream. So you take out a proposal planning sheet, hint, hint, and begin thinking of your way through the process. You scratch down your ideas of what needs to happen and when it needs to be done and who needs to do the work. Okay, that sounds like a task list. Permission from Walmart, flatbed trucks, security people, Christian band, promotion, sound, lights, electricity. These are just some of the things that must be secured. Okay, so we're proposing. Now we're starting to think through the organization. Scene 3. It's Sunday afternoon, and you're meeting with your staff. You hand out copies of the production schedule for the Walmart rally. You talk through it with your staff, assign jobs, send them out. Over the next several weeks, the staff carry out their jobs, and each staff meeting includes a time of checking on the progress and making changes to the production. You focus on being thorough in the details. Okay, that is the preparation. We're preparing to the product. Scene 4. Finally, the big day arrives. Your staff has done a great job of building this program, although a few problems have appeared within hours of the program. The forecast is calling for rain, the band's van has broken down on their way into town, and one of your stage light trees is dropped and busted by one of your 9th grade helpers. You scramble to adjust, and the rally goes off without any major problems. Present to the product. Scene 5. Sunday afternoon, after the Friday night rally. You meet with all the lay staff to assess the program and evaluate. As you watch the video from the rally, your staff laughs, makes excited comments, voices concerns, and talks about how it could have been improved. The sound should have been louder. There weren't enough adult security personnel for the rowdy crowd. Maybe you should have stopped the concert when the thunder and lightning started. We'll cover that during the safety section of this work text. Thankfully, only 2 band members were fried. Should you do the rally next year? How would it be better? You evaluate to the product. You see there in your work text, this is how we think through the progression of a particular program. And you should do this with your small groups. You should do this with your mission trips, with your camps, with any type of outreach events that you may have, with your campus ministry. Anything you do in student ministry, you need to propose to the product, organize to the product, prepare to the product, present it, and evaluate to the product. That's the heart of axiom number 4, programming to the product. And so as we see this unfold here in these 5 different scenes, which go right in line with exactly what we were just talking about there when we talk about proposing, organizing, preparing, presenting, and evaluating. These 5 scenes mimic those very 5 principles. So what does it look like in the end? Well, you can see there in your work text as we work through this. Your work text covers on that chart where you program to the product. And I list there the Kmart scenario, which would be the Walmart scenario. It gives us a picture of the stages of the program development. Specifically stated, this is how they look. Now I want you to check out this chart because it may help you understand more of what we're really talking about here. Okay, so as you see this chart, I'll pop it up on the screen there for you. And as it pops up, we're looking at these 5 different progressions of the program. Under propose, what's the key action there? When you sat across the road from the Walmart parking lot just sipping your sweet tea, when you sat, what were you doing? You were dreaming. Your perspective was this big picture. You weren't consumed with the details, but this big picture. And your prayer focus was, God, what can we do to reach more teenagers for you? It's a dreaming stage. Think big, dream big. Your God is so much bigger than how we dream. Yes, there are many things we dream about that can't happen, that are prohibitive, that aren't even smart to endeavor on. But you have to dream. See the big picture. Let God stretch you beyond what you're doing, not for bigger and better, but for greater impact for the kingdom of God. Then the second stage is the organization stage, where we organize to the product. This is where you think it. You're not just dreaming it. You're starting to really think it. You're starting to get serious. This is going to make you tired. You're not just looking at the big picture. You've got more of a bird's eye view, maybe 5 miles up, and you're spotting things, and you're getting an overview and seeing some of the details, and you start thinking it through. And your prayer focus there is, God, show me how to do this. Show us how to do this. Then the third stage is the preparation stage. You're preparing to the product. And in this stage, your main action is building it. It's putting it all together. And you've got a perspective that is really honed in on the details of this particular event or activity or program. Your prayer focus then is, God, help us to be thorough. Help us not miss things. Help us not to get lost in the details, but help us not to overlook key details. And then the fourth stage is the presentation stage. This is the do it time. This is make it happen time. Your perspective is a parade view. It's on. It's going. Everybody's seeing it. And your prayer focus is, God, let it run smoothly. And then we get to the evaluation stage. You evaluate to the product, where your action is to reflect and ponder on it. Your perspective is in hindsight, and you know what they say about hindsight. It's not just what they say, it's what we all experience with hindsight. Hindsight is very clear. Many things that we didn't see moving forward, when we turn around and we look back, we see so many things that we could have either improved on, or things that we should maybe have left out, or just a clearer picture of actually what that program was for. And that's hindsight. And your prayer focus has got, in the end, we served before an audience of one. How did it please you? How did you like it, Father? And so there's the 5 stages of programming when we do every particular project and event. And I really want to encourage you with that. Take some time this week, and I'm going to put it up on Moodle. I want you to share a little bit of how you would tell us about a particular program, and then walk us through the vision, scene 1, scene 2, 3, 4, and 5. I want you to do what I did with the Walmart evangelism. I want you to do the same thing, maybe with a mission trip, maybe with a Disciple Now weekend, or another outreach or missions, community missions project. Whatever it is, I want you to take time, think through, walk through 5 scenes, and walk us through the proposing, organization, the preparation, the presentation, and the evaluation of that programming project. And then we'll jump back in here and just in a little while, not too many days ahead, we'll jump back in and talk about how do you build your volunteer team and your lay staff. So enjoyed our time together. I know this is a quick lesson, but I really wanted to spend more time sharing those 5 scenes related to something you're doing as you propose, organize, prepare, present, and evaluate programs. So have a good week, have a good night, wherever you are, and let me know if you have any questions about what's coming up. Thanks.